you're constantly making decisions when you're on the road. You're constantly having to pivot or detour when you're on the road. Some say parks might close, right? So you might have a reservation, and then it's amplifying what already exists in a day-to-day, but times 1,000. And to me, I actually love that, because what it does is through repetition, you expand your comfort zone. So through repetition of discomfort, you literally become a new person.
Welcome to the RV Queens podcast, where adventure meets the open road. I'm your host, Charlie Grace, rolling through life 1 mile at a time, sharing stories, interviews, tips, and real talk about RV living, travel, and the freedom to chase your own version of home. Whether you're a full-time RVer, a weekend warrior, or just RV curious, you're in the right place. So buckle up, grab your favorite drink, and let's hit the road together. My special guest today is Morgan Field, otherwise known as the Morgan Field. Let's don't forget that. This is important. In the van life world, it's awesome to make new friends. And I met Morgan, oh my gosh, a couple years ago. How did we meet? Do you remember this?
I think it was Peace Love Vans.
Peace Love Vans.
It's
great place to go.
Event. Mm-hmm.
It's a great community. How did you hear about that, and how did you decide to go?
The first year that they were doing that event, I had just purchased my van, and one of my friends sent me the link and was like, hey, I don't know if you've seen this. So the universe brought it to me. I've gone every year. It's my favorite event. And then I recruit people every year to come play and just indulge in the energies of people that live a very joyful, nature-connected life of adventure and fun. And I love van life. Yeah.
It's a big deal. If you don't know, you don't know. But once you're in it, you're really in it. It's a lot of fun. So let's talk about van life as a solo female, because, hello, been there, done that. How long have you been doing van life?
Over 3 years. And I am actually I was trying to figure out what I would call it. I'm like a wanderluster. I'm like a wherever and whenever my heart calls me. And some people have said that have followed my journey that they use their van different, seeing how I use mine, because to me, it's not just, yes, of course, it's like going on adventures and things like that. And I like day ventures as well. Like going out for the day and just having fun and having your bathroom with you and your fridge with you and all the things. You can take a nap. If there's traffic, I can pull over and read a book, And so yeah, I use it in a very different way, I think, than most people.
See, and I love that. I love that day venture idea. I call it adventure days. So that's, you wake up and you're right. You could just take your bathroom with you. You could take your groceries with you. You want to stop and have a picnic, whatever you want to do. It's all right there with you. It's a different way of travel. And it doesn't have to be to the Grand Canyon. It could be an hour away to a new town to check out something fun or a festival or whatever it might be. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, even going to a destination, life happens. There were a couple of funerals back to back that I actually attended that when I heard that a family member had crossed, it was like, okay, I'm here. I'm going to go support the family. I'm going to mooch dock in the driveway. I'm going to, support and bond. And even things like that, like the ease and just the pick up and go and having everything that I need. And then also making the adventure or the journey on the way there fun. And, versus I traveled a lot in my corporate career in airplanes and just airport and the busyness versus like my little cocoon that is just all my coziness and all my decoration and just all my vibes and, singing out of tune and just having the best time. And then the people, people like you, like meeting like-hearted people. It's the best.
Mic drop. Yeah, that's fantastic. Great way of explaining it. I love this. Okay, so let's start. So what inspired you to start van life? Was there a moment in time where you said, you know what, I think I want to go buy a van?
Oh, I live my life very intuitively. So I often get these little nudges from the universe. I remember feeling and kind of seeing an image of a van. And I was like, what is this? And so sometimes when that happens, I'll try to create logic around it. Like, oh, maybe it's because my family lives in Chicago and I live in Florida. And oh, that'll allow me to travel so much more luxuriously. And ironically, when I first started looking, I was looking for like a Toyota that I could just make it work. And when I started looking at things, I started laughing because I'm bougie. I will just openly admit this. This is something that I had to admit more and more on my journey. Like, I enjoy the luxury. Like, once I saw, so I have a 2019 Winnebago Travato. Once I saw that, for like, I can't go back. Like, I was like, oh, there's a bathroom, there's beds, there's a fridge there. And I just was like, yeah, no, now I'm like really committed to this like very glamorous bougie way of being. And it's essentially like getting a house on wheels. So I feel like that nudge was that first thread, and then it was like pulling on the thread or just kind of seeing where it took me. And yeah, I landed on this vehicle that is, so it just has brought, so it like opened up a portal to a completely new world.
I'm a little bougie too, in a weird overlanding kind of way, which sounds sort of awkward. It's there's lots of things I want to do, and van life is a journey. And the fact that, you're not a quote unquote full-time van lifer, which, I call myself an anytimer. I have a residence, and, there's different ways of looking at this. So in the van world, people sort of put people on different pedestals depending on how you travel and what you do. And I'm a firm believer that no one should judge. It's all about you. That's the best part about van life. It's very personal. You're saying you're real bougie. I'm like, good for you, girl. You'll rock it. Let's talk about your van. You said you have a Winnebago Travato. What made you pick that specific floor plan?
So again, that was very intuitive. There's this incredible dealership by me that specializes in Class Bs. And I went there and I was looking at a different kind of vehicle, and I felt guided to this blinking light. This was not the Travato. This was a different van. I was like sold on this van. I really wanted it. I loved the layout. And there was this blinking light, and I asked about it, and something just didn't sit right with me. It was like the battery wasn't charging. There was some sort of issue. So I tried my hardest to rein in my impulse control and was like, you know what? I'm gonna sleep on this. And I went and did a little bit of research and realized that that particular model I was looking at was having some issues with their battery. It was a different brand, whatever, right? So then I started looking at RV Trader, people who are selling it privately as well. So it kind of opened up my options. And there was a couple, this was back when it was totally a seller's market. There were two within like a 500-mile radius of me. And one of them, it was a couple, they lived in a beach town. So I was like, okay, this would be an adventure for me to drive to the beach town. And even if I didn't love it, then, maybe I'll have a great experience with my dog on the beach, which we did. The minute I met, it's like everything has a soul. And the minute I met my Travato, I was like, yes, girl, we're going to ride. And so it was like a feeling to me. It was, even as I walked in, the layout. So I have the K model, the 59K, and it's open and it offers so much light with all these windows. I really did feel like I found this beautiful, cozy cocoon that I could really get out and explore. I'm a very, very sensitive soul. So to be able to like go out and socialize and then go in and be in solitude, and it offered, I don't know. So to me, it was like such a feeling. It was such a knowingness. And then it was like, again, pulling that yarn, it was this ripple effect of the couple that was selling it to me told me about a group on Facebook, Travato Owners and Wannabes. So I joined that, and I just got goosebumps as I said that. But like that community, joining a community that has a same make and model, that has saved me so much time, headache, money in terms of troubleshooting things. My brain may catastrophize and make something bigger or worse than it is. And then I get in there and people who've already troubleshooted it was like, oh, it was this one little thing that you had to tweak. So yeah, and just the people that I meet in that community. And then every single day, I'm so grateful that I was guided to that particular make, that model, that year. Like, it was just like the whole universe aligned for me to have this exact vehicle.
That's so cool. And I got to tell you, I actually got to attend the Winnie Bees, called the Winnebago Bees, the Winnie Bees National Meetup Roundup in Cody, Wyoming this year. So I got to see all of them and hang out with them. And they're such a great group of people. And that Facebook group is, you're right. When you get those groups, those communities that can tell you, give you some ideas, my door isn't working or my window got stuck or whatever it is. I'm like, oh, we've had that problem before.
Yeah. And I also kind of playfully joke, like, are they, the money I save on, things that could have been bigger issues and weren't, then I spend on modifications. So that group also has a lot of really cool ideas of, upgrades or things, that little things, big things that are going to really improve your experience. So yeah, I really truly feel like having a community of people, whether you create it, because I saw that you created one for Echo, so I think that's awesome. Whether you create it or whether it already exists, to find people that are already communing either in group or forum that have that make and model, it really changes everything. I'm like super, super nerdy, and my brain can absorb and synthesize so much information. So I'll get an idea for something, and then I'll just research in that group, and I see like post after post after post, and I synthesize, and then I go and I utilize the information. So it's incredible. I really love it.
Well, community is important. That's why we're doing this. This is important. We're creating more community. We're getting the word out. So let's talk about, what are your top essential van life items that you take with you every time?
The first thing that comes to mind, and it's something that I just kind of added to the van, but recently, and this came from this group, there's this USB light that affixes to the mirror. And again, remember, I'm a little bougie. We were talking about, like, I've got some color going on. I enjoy like pink lipstick, even when I'm out doing van life and in nature. So I enjoy the experience, like, to get up in the morning and do my makeup, even if I'm just going to relax. It helps me, especially if I'm going to drive though, it helps me feel a little bit more energized. So yeah, so I have this like super cute little light that affixes to the mirror. And again, we love USB because it doesn't take a lot of power to charge. You can charge that without having to turn on the generator or even the inverter. Like, as I'm trying to pull items from my brain, I can't feel them. But to me, it's more about like what to bring energetically. Like,
Understood.
you've got to, yeah, it's like you got to bring a resilient mind. Like, you have to be, yeah. Like,
let's
you
talk
really
about that. This is important. Ready?
Yeah.
Things happen on the road.
Yes.
For people who are planners, and when things change, sometimes they have a really hard time. In van life, things are always changing, moving, breaking, whatever it might be. Did you have a hard time, maybe the first time something broke? How did you deal with that?
Initially, right, the brain goes into, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever, and how much is it going to cost me? And then I go to my group. And because I've done that enough times, I have a very regulated nervous system when it comes to things breaking. I joke that I used to think, I need to buy, like, what if I need a new thing too? Like, what's the mod for that? Or how do we troubleshoot that? So it's radically transformed how I interact with things, air quotes, going wrong. But for me, it's also like, it's the resilience of, you're constantly making decisions when you're on the road. You're constantly having to pivot or detour when you're on the road. You're constantly, to your point, like, things change. You might get a place and, even recently they were talking about like some state parks might close, right? So you might have a reservation, and then it's amplifying what already exists in a day to day, but times 1,000. And to me, I actually love that, because what it does is, through repetition, you expand your comfort zone. So through repetition of discomfort, you literally become a new person. You really get into a cadence of embracing the unknown in a way that someone may not ever understand until they're out there.
I 100% agree. As a planner, as a very planner, I like my routine. There's certain things I like. The idea of having all my stuff was nice. And that was a comfort. Like we talked about that cocoon effect, and I'm like, okay, well, if this happens, I've got this, if this, but at the end of the day, you just have to roll with it. And I'm how many years into, I'm in so many years into this, I'm rolling with it a lot better. But there are still days where I was like, really? Like for me, every day, like if I'm on a big trip and it's a big move day, something breaks. You just have to sit back and go, okay, just one thing at a time. It'll be fine. Ultimately, it'll be fine. You just have to put it in perspective. But yeah, you just, these are things you got to roll with. But as a solo female, wait, this is important because I want to tell my solo females out there, there are tools, there are things we can use on top of forums and groups and things like that. We can fix things. We can, and we have resources to go places that can help us. Now, do I want to do my own tire change? I can. Do I want to? No. Do I have resources available? Yeah. Am I a little bougie? Am I going to do it in heels? No. I'm going to call my roadside service, right? That's why we have these things. That's the whole point, right? I love this. So I know in van life, it's really hard to have one thing that only does one thing, meaning that would be a luxury item, in my opinion. Like we talk about using, your light is a USB, it could be moved, it could do a bunch of different things. I had a one luxury item in my van that people make fun of me. It was a one slice toaster. Do you have a luxury item that you think, in your van?
The one item that is probably the most ridiculous, but it's staying in there, is I have a 2-seater camping chair for me and my dog. Yeah, because he needs a spot. And so, but that thing is humongous and it takes up a lot of space. And at one point I did consider removing it. It's the best to be around a campfire and, he has his own seat. There have been times where people ask if they can sit there when he's, maybe not there. And I'm like, oh no, this is Teddy's seat. And they think I'm joking. And then I think they're offended. And then he gets on the seat and they watch us like cuddle in and get all the blankets around us. And then they're like, oh, you were being serious. I'm like, oh, I don't play. That's my best friend. So yeah, but it's ridiculous how much space it takes up.
Okay. So I'm right there with you because I travel with the dog too. Let's talk about Teddy. Now, what kind of dog is Teddy?
He is a pit bull mix, but I think, and I'm actually, I literally just got this, so I'm going to do a doggy DNA test to figure out, but I actually intuitively, I think he might be a Basenji mix, a pit bull Basenji mix.
Okay. That might be interesting. So how old is Teddy now?
He's 10.
Aw.
Yeah.
So how old was he when you started traveling though? I mean, was it something new? Was he always used to like going on car rides or was this a new thing?
So he's a rescue.
Okay.
He had, he was actually, I feel like a big part of my decision in van life as well. He was a rescue. He was 5 when he came to be with me and he had no experience with the human world. He was like discarded outdoor Miami. So he had no reference point of the world, and also it was like a very sensory stimulating world for him, which I understand because I can be very sensory overstimulated as well. When I got him, I actually lived in Miami and I ended up relocating to Ocala, which is so much more RV friendly. This was before the van. And then when I got the van, him and I have done a ton of training, and he's just like incredibly intuitive and really great at partnering. He's also very Velcro. So he's so human motivated that he will do anything. He doesn't really care what you're doing as long as he's with you. So he's a rock star at van travel. I think the hardest part for him, because of the amount of training we've done and the amount of time that we've spent together and how deeply we're partnered in how we navigate life, I think the hardest part for him is, when I leave the van and go do something by myself for a little bit.
Traveling with a pet is a big deal. I mean, I think when we talk about like RVers and things like that, then it's a crazy statistic, like over 70% of people who have them partly because of their pet, because they want to travel with them and do things. In a van, it's a little more intentional. It's smaller and you can do a little more things. Have you found things? I know you said he's very human centric, like he's a little Velcro pup. Are there things that you've had to think about while you're traveling with him?
He's literally like my sacred partner, right? So everything I do, I consider him in how I use the van when I do upgrades for the van. As an example, my van is the 59K model, but I am considering doing the lithium with the inverter upgrade so that I can be like you and run my AC without the generator. But yeah, I'm always, I have a Marcel in the van, which gives me alerts for humidity, which is kind of cool, but I got it for Teddy, right? So it helps me be able to really feel or be able to know what is the temperature in the van, right? So that if I do go, he's so spoiled. He has a dog bed. He's got the cutest little like bowl with a splash guard on it. He has an entire cabinet that's just his, right? He has clothes because pit bulls get chilly. They're really mismarketed. They are the sweetest, most big babies. He gets, chilly. So he has sweatshirts and jackets and toys. And I have one of the, like a long lead so he can kind of roam a little bit when we're places. But yeah, like I said, the chair that's a 2-seater, he is my pup pilot. So everything I do, I consider him. Absolutely.
I think that's awesome. I really do. And I'm glad that you take the time and effort. You have all these great things for him as well. So you're looking at him as a partner. It's not just he's along for the ride. He really has all his comforts and everything like that. I love that. That's so cute.
Yeah, I do joke that it's his van and I'm the chauffeur. And I think a lot of us who have vans or, living in that RV life with our dogs, that they understand that sentiment.
Absolutely. I call this the world's most expensive doghouse on wheels.
Totally.
Okay. All right. Changing gears here a little bit, just screaming this way. Every time I talk to women, about traveling solo and doing things, it becomes an interesting topic. People always say, well, do you feel safe? What do you have for safety? I'm like, well, I have a dog. She hears a lot of things that I don't, which is nice for me, which gives me a heads up on things. But how do you feel being safe on the road?
Teddy is a huge asset in that way. Even if I'm going in and grabbing something from the store, I actually then feel the van is safe because he's in the van. It was interesting. I was parked somewhere and someone who was homeless was walking up and kind of went to peer in, not realizing that I was in there, and got spooked when he saw the dog, right? So the dog, yes, because I'm so intuitive. To me, it always goes back to intuition. And I listen to my intuition. I'm very surrendered to my intuition. To me, that's the strongest asset. If you arrive at a location and something feels off, trust it. And it doesn't happen very frequently. It's not a fear thing for me. It's just like I've arrived at a place and maybe say I'm like cracker docking. I'm in a Cracker Barrel lot and there's no one else there. And also, it's kind of dark and there's another one 10 miles down the road. So yeah, for me, I really feel like it's paying attention. I also grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, but then when I lived in Chicago and worked in Chicago, I did a lot of like public transportation, taking the train into the city. So I was raised with a lot of self-awareness, street smarts.
Blue line?
That makes a difference.
Which
yeah, exactly. Yeah, blue line.
Okay, all right. I'm a Chicago. Sweet home here. We could talk about that. Well, it's true. Street smarts counts, but I think I'm going to use what you're saying, intuition or your gut feeling or whatever you feel. I think a lot of women play it off. Well, it'll be fine. Oh, it'll be this. No, you need to listen to, and it's okay. It's okay to say, I planned a Cracker Barrel, I planned a Walmart, but this isn't working out. I need to go someplace else. And I've had that happen to me a few times. It may be one way at 5 p.m. It may be another way at 9 p.m. Things can change. And are you willing to take a move? Just be prepared and do what you need to do. But safety is important. And I want to make sure everyone out there, male, female, couple, doesn't matter. You guys are really listening to your gut. That's a thing.
Yeah. And it also goes back to surrendering to the adaptability that is required in van life instead of fighting it, right? Allowing yourself to, I genuinely feel like the universe is a very friendly place. So it's trusting that, yes, the universe is a very friendly place and honoring the detour. So, whenever a plan doesn't work out, I use like a mantra to help me surrender into it, where I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to see what the universe is going to bring me to instead. Right. Versus, so mindset, I really do feel like can either tremendously expand you and bring you on the greatest magic carpet ride for van life, or your mindset could paralyze you and get in your way and overthink. And so, yeah, really just to me, it's like making sure that my paradigms set me up to pivot, but also not in a way of, rose-colored glasses that it's like, I'm fine, it's fine, everything's fine, when it's not fine. So and actually earlier when you were talking about, maybe something breaks or goes wrong, I am a very in tune with my emotions person. And I did kind of flash back to, you know, 1, 2, 3 dominoes fall in the wrong direction and maybe there's some tears, and like that's okay too, right? Just letting the cries come out. So it's also figuring out, how do you actually allow yourself to feel your feelings? I feel like that helps create more space to be able to hear your intuition as well.
I think that's fantastic. I love that idea. I love giving yourself that opportunity, and just having that moment. I also like how you referred to your van as sort of like your cocoon, because I think that's a really good way of explaining it. I know, we go to all these events, you and I were at different events and stuff. And then all of a sudden we're like, I just need to not people for a second. I need to just sort of, decompress and quiet my voice and have that moment where it's really just me, without, not that I love peopling. I love meeting a lot of people, but sometimes we put a lot of energy out there and it's exhausting,
100%.
100%. So it's really being in tune with, who you are and watching your own energy, because that's your most valuable resource you have, right? Really is. And what you put out. So I'm just going to gush on Morgan for a second here. So I mean, we met a long time ago at Peace Load Vans, which I still think is one of my favorite little van festivals to go to. They're doing one in Colorado and in Florida this year. Did you know that?
I did. I've already bought my ticket for Florida. I'm in 100%, and I'm looking at dates for Colorado.
It's really cool. And I know exactly where they're going to do it, because I was actually in Colorado this past summer. So I'm like, ooh, going to check this out. So for all of our van life friends out there, they're listening and watching all that kind of great stuff. If you're thinking about going, I'm going to leave a link in the description of something, where the podcast or the video or whatever it is. We have discounts. I like to give away discounts. I'm all about the discount, because, if we can help people get more connected, that's what it's all about, right? All right. So let's talk about one more exciting topic in your life. What's going on with Morgan today?
I think what's top of mind for me, and this is why I really love van life so much, is I've been doing so much research around modifications. Like, I just love learning. I love expanding. I love growth. I'm super nerdy. So van life allows me to really just be so deeply immersed in things that light me up. And the reason I say that is I actually just got back from a trip to Hohenwald. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but Hohenwald, Tennessee.
I've been to Hohenwald, Tennessee. Okay. Wait. Can I say it? What did you think was the coolest part of Hohenwald, Tennessee? Because I love this little town.
Actually, I went there to Behaven, because that's where I get work done. Scott G, I don't know, Gripenhold, I'm not totally sure. Scott and Crystal live up there, and they have a place, and he's a genius. So I didn't actually explore the town, but I did go to Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. And there was an incredible little Mexican El Azteca, I think, restaurant that I went to. They had live music. And I love small towns because you can feel the synergy. Like, you can feel everyone knows everyone. So I really enjoyed that. And that was maybe like 20 minutes from Hohenwald.
Okay, this is where life gets really small. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I grew up in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee.
No way.
Yes way.
I just got goosebumps.
Do you know that Lawrenceburg, Tennessee is known for gospel music and music in general?
Didn't.
It's a huge musical town. It's just sort of interesting. I grew up around Davy Crockett State Park, all those wonderful things. And Hohenwald is the home for the Elephant Sanctuary in Tennessee.
Oh, I'm so sad. I didn't know that.
Which is pretty wild. And Hohenwald has one of the highest per capita of advanced degrees. People who retire who go to Hohenwald. This sounds sort of crazy. It's a really interesting place. It's around Summertown. which is where the farm is. Have you ever heard of the farm in Summertown? It was an old commune situation that turned HOA. It's sort of fun, like when you see people go and you hear their perspectives of these places going, yeah, I've been there.
Been there. I lived there.
I might know that.
Can't wait
I went to high school there, just, small things, no
That's
big deal.
wild. Yeah, I loved the vibration of Lawrenceburg. Like it was enough that I paid attention to where I was. Like I was like, oh, what town am I in? And I took note of it and took pictures of the areas. Yeah, it's beautiful there.
The hills, it's just pretty. It is. Middle Tennessee in general is a very beautiful place to be from.
I think Tennessee wins the most beautiful drive award. Like I was driving through Georgia. So I'm in Florida, right? So I drive through Georgia to get there. And Georgia has so many amazing state parks to stop at and explore. And then Tennessee, just driving through Tennessee, it's like just mind-boggling how incredibly beautiful it is. Like I'll turn off the music and the podcasts and the audiobook and I'll just be in the nature while I'm driving. Yeah.
Well, I will tell you right now,
incredible.
I'm in Middle Tennessee as we speak, and it is fall and acorns are falling from the sky on top of my rig, which are freaking out my dog. It's like we're under attack at all times. But it's gorgeous. And I love the fall and the trees and leaves, the hills, and the colors are changing, and it really is stunning. So for people who are going to be driving through the South and Southeast this fall, you're in for some gorgeous colors. I just can't wait. I
apparently missed the gorgeous colors by like a couple weeks. So again, I feel like the universe is just trying to tell me I need to go back. I need to do more modifications. I did swap my AGMs for lithium so that I did have more power. And then the solenoid was swapped for an LIBIM, which makes a huge difference because the solenoid was constantly giving anxiety. Okay, let me back up. How I make decisions and prioritize what I'm modifying is not only what's going to add more joy and ease, it's also what's going to decrease any anxieties I'm experiencing. So after every and any trip, and while I'm on the trip, I'm always looking at what's working, what's not working. I mean that literally and figuratively. And for me, I noticed that battery anxiety and solenoid anxiety, especially as AGMs start to fail, were a thing. And so I was like, yeah, let me just treat yourself, treat myself to this little upgrade. So I did that and like a bunch of other things. And so, yeah. And when you find a tech who's incredible at what they do, that's another thing in this world is like, that is such a treasure. So I will wait a little extra time if needed to go to a person that I really trust and know. And I thought that I was going to have to fix my, I thought I was going to have to replace my awning. I thought my awning was broken. And within 10 minutes, he fixed it. So, it just, little things really do matter when it comes to van life. But so I'm excited to have my awning working again too. But that's, I know in some ways I could have answered that question, like what's exciting in my life outside of a van life. But to me, my most favorite things in this chapter of my life are my dog and my van, and they pair very well together.
I love this. I like the pair. It's a pairing, like cheese and wine. It is what it is. Van life and dogs. It should go hand in hand. I agree 100%. Okay. Rapid fire questions. We're going to do like a this or that. Ready? You get to pick one. Okay, here we go. Mountains or beach?
Oh, I'm bad at this. I'm a yes and girl. I know, Charlie Grace. I right now, I think because I've lived in Florida for so long, I would say mountains just in this chapter of my life right now.
Okay, understand. Cooking or eating out?
In this chapter right now, I would say cooking.
Okay. Dog park or just like a state park? Like
a state park.
Okay. Boondocking or RV resort?
Right now, to me, it's like right now, I think I would choose an RV resort.
Understood. And when I had my van, honestly, I was connected a little more just because of my battery power and other things. So I'm right there with you because I get that. I totally get that. Okay. Now I got to think back. We're in. Okay. Sweet or sour?
Oh, I like sweet and sour together. That's like my favorite combo when you put them together. But if I had to pick, I would pick sweet.
Sweet. Okay. All right. I'm a tiramisu girl. What's your favorite sweet?
There are these like chocolate muffins, at, like like a Whole Foods place or something like that, that there's a brand and I can't think of the brand name, but they're really healthy and clean and delicious. So yeah, like chocolate. Yeah. And I
That
also like
sounds good.
s'mores. I love s'mores.
Those are good. Have you ever tried s'mores with Reese's peanut butter cups yet?
No.
Ooh. We can make them a little bougie. We
Interesting.
could. I've also made
I'm
s'more.
here for it.
I made s'more martinis as well. We will talk. Okay. All right. We're going to talk about little hacks here, but have you been to a Buc-ee's? I have to ask this first. Have you done a
Oh
Buc-ee's
yeah, of
yet?
course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Buc-ee's or Love's Travel Stop? Which one?
I like Buc-ee's when it's not too busy.
Buc-ee's. I know. Gotta love the beaver.
I
do
like shopping a little bit.
but the shopping is fun, but the Love's is becoming interesting because then you'll have the RV travel stops where you have RV spots. Have you seen those yet?
Nope. This is new to me.
Okay.
See? This is why I love this. Yep.
This is a new thing. So Love's, and not all of them, but quite a few of them actually have like their own RV park. It's like an RV resort. I kid you not. I'm in Colorado and I stopped just, I think, south of Colorado Springs. I just had needed to top off on my water and, get my batteries up to date, things like that. But they had pickleball courts. They had laundry. They had basketball courts. They had community fire pits. They had I was like,
then I picked that one.
Yeah, like that's impressive.
Changed my answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. I love it. I mean, I love a good beaver nugget. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I get really overstimulated in crowds, so I try to avoid crowds as much as I can. So that whole place is overstimulating. But yeah, what you just described, that's incredible. Recently I saw like I'm seeing the branding for like Jellystone's park, their little RV community. So a place that has things to do, right? Like a pickleball court or a swimming pool or slides, or I'm going to pick right now in this chapter, like I am going to pick those, but I do like the balance of also then, mooch talking at a friend's house and getting to see some friends, or, if I'm just driving through and boondocking and things like that. So yeah.
I like that. Okay, really quick, we're going to end with this. Tell me about some of the cool places you've been in your van that you think other people might enjoy too, or that you just really like.
Recently, I just went to Cloudland Canyon State Park in right up on that cusp of Georgia, Tennessee. The view is just so beautiful. And then I hiked the waterfall with Teddy. And so for me, it's like core memories are why I do van life. It's really allowing myself to go have an experience intentionally with Teddy, and we both love nature. So that place just like, it imprinted on my heart while I was there.
Oh,
yeah. And just as far as like nature, okay, what's next for me is I'm feeling called to go do some waterfall hiking in Asheville, North Carolina. Yeah, I love Asheville. And then when I was traveling, I was looking at Gatlinburg. That place, every time I would see like different experiences, I was like, wow, that's incredible. So I feel like those are kind of my next two on the hit list. And then just sharing one of a recent fun one.
I might be helping you out in the Gatlinburg one. And there's a place called Townsend, Tennessee, which is the quiet side of the Smokies. And it's just a little south of Gatlinburg, but if you like quiet, not as crowded, but you could still, dip in and do some stuff. My dog just woke up from her nap. Imagine that. So, but that is Rosie Bell Dog's one of her favorite places that we've been to ever since she was a puppy. Because it is quiet, it's calm, it's relaxing. There's actually a little bluegrass festival every now and again they do down there, and really nice. It's Cades Cove is in the area, so I will connect you up on this one. You'll love that one. But anyways, all right, the Morgan Field. This is exciting. How are people going to find you if someone says, "Hey, I want to reach out to her"? Where do we find you?
Well, there you go, at the Morgan Field. So and this is on Instagram, but TheMorganField, like a field of grass, baseball field, an energy field. And then I'm on Facebook as well. I actually love both platforms. I kind of share differently on that. Facebook, I think it's also the Morgan Field, all one word, that you could search, or just Morgan Field, and it'll be a picture of me and Teddy as the profile picture. I believe.
Well, from one van life gal to the next, let me just say I think you're rocking it. Just saying. I appreciate you. I think you're doing a great job and keep up the great stories. I love following you on Instagram. It's always a good time. And just keep inspiring others. That's what you're doing. You're doing a great job by sharing your story and letting people know some van life realities, as well as, all the other fun stuff. So way to go.
Thank you. And I just want to love bomb you a little bit here. You are just like such a ray of humor and sunshine, and just like your ability to be so generous and endless with what you share. And I can, it's like every conversation I have with you, there's always like deliciousness to soak in, not only in your energy and that you bring, it's also, and the connection that you offer, it's also in like the wisdom. And I just feel like everything you create, I'm like, yeah, I want to like be a part of it, or I want to know about it, or I want to learn from it, or I want to listen to it. So thank you. You're just like an endless energy pour out into the world. And I just feel like you're incredible.
Oh, thank you. You're so kind. I appreciate that. That's very, very kind.
That's at Lawrenceburg, Tennessee's coming out.
There you go. Kind. Thanks for tuning into the RV Queens podcast. I hope you found inspiration for your next adventure, on or off the road. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and connect with us on social media at RV Queens Community for behind-the-scenes stories and travel tips. Until next time, keep your wheels turning and your spirit wild. We'll see you down the road.